Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Working in Hockey podcast. I'm your host, Nick Bowins, and today, pleased to be joined by my guy, Ryan Bucciarelli, currently working with the St. Louis Blues as the team lead of premium and suite sales. Ryan, we're on the Olympic break here. How are things going for you?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And first off, thanks for having me out on the podcast. Definitely appreciate it and look forward to a great conversation. It's been a really busy time for us, in all honesty, where most folks think we're kicking our feet up and relaxing while all the guys are overseas. We're grinding away on our season ticket renewals. We started our campaign a couple weeks back with the goal of obviously renewing our season ticket base, which is one of the best in the league year over year, and making sure that we get these fans back in the seats for what should be another exciting year of Blues hockey in the 26-27 season. So that has kept us extremely busy while everyone's off at the Olympics. So,
Absolutely, yes. The Olympic break is in asterisks there, but
yeah.
now really want to dive into your experience here, Ryan, and learn a little bit more about you, your career path, what your role entails. So, I guess first and foremost, you've been with the Blues for a little over 7 years now, about 6 months in the current role as team lead there. Describe for the people listening what your role is and what it entails.
Yeah, so my current role, I should say, rather, team lead of a premium and suite sales. So I'm still full menu selling. So anything from full season tickets, partial season tickets, group tickets, suites for both Blues games and non-hockey events. So any other concert or show that comes in the building, as well as the Stiefel Theater, which we have full ownership of as well. So that's about a 2,800 person theater that's attached to the Enterprise Center. So we have a slew of different events there a year. I'd say on average, I mean, 50 to 60 events a year, whether it's R&B shows, comedy shows, family shows. I mean, it really runs the gamut. So just a whole nother building really that you get access to sell that really most other sports teams don't have access to, a whole nother venue next door. So long story short, I mean, on the selling side, there's no shortage of things to sell, even if the Blues aren't in season. You always have these other events to fall back on. So still predominantly selling, and then with my new elevated role, more of a hands-on role with like coaching and training the reps. So different trainings to for a development and growth standpoint, a couple of times each month as well, and also just I mean more of a like a hand in the premium department. Me and then one of the other managers that runs the premium and suites, like we work pretty closely together on pricing and strategy for both enterprise center events and blues games. I more so have a hand in the steeple theater pricing and strategy with another manager as well. So really when I got to the senior role, I was at a point where like I wanted more responsibility. So went to my VP and was like, hey, like what can I do to be involved more? Like I want to keep selling. I have a passion for selling. I'm consider myself to be a pretty decent salesperson. So I want to keep doing that. But like, what can I do to elevate? So talk to some other teams that I still have some colleagues at in Philly and Jersey, and they built out a very similar role, where I mean, just simply an elevated senior role with more responsibility, and you're still fully selling. So it's been fantastic thus far, and look forward to continuing what should be been a really fun ride with the Blues here moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I want to work backwards through some of the roles in your time there with the Blues. But before we get into that, I guess how many people are in the premium and suite sales department or team there, and how many people, or I guess who are you working most closely with there day to day?
Yeah, so the whole sales staff in general with the Blues compared to most other sports teams is on the smaller side. I mean, I'd say total between like reps and managers were somewhere in that 20 to 25 range, give or take. Premium side, so we have first off our VP of all sales, like premium and suite sales. And then we have a director of premium sales and service, and then another manager that deals with premium and suite sales. So those are our three more like manager, VP level folks, and then under that umbrella would then be myself, who's the team lead. Then we have two other premium sales executives as well. So overall, I'm in a pretty small premium bubble. And then within the sales staff, we have most other traditional buckets like other teams have. So like your account executives, your client retention folks, which are the ones that are in charge of our full and half season accounts and renewing and servicing those accounts as well. We do have a smaller group sales department. There's just one gal that she heads up our group sales efforts. And then there's a few managers on that side of things as well, that more so oversee the ticketing and group sales initiatives too.
Okay, yeah, it's always I love hearing, the size, the structure, the shape of different teams, and like you said, there's a million different ways to go about it, and again, as you mentioned, there's different things that you guys sell beyond just the Blues on ice
Mm.
product too. So I always love diving into kind of who's on the team and what they're doing there. But I know that you came in and joined the Blues just before that Stanley Cup run. Talk to me about, I guess, take me back there to coming in, the team's low in the standings, last place in the standings at one point, and then 6 months later, 6 months into your tenure with the Blues, basically, the guys are hoisting the cup. And how did that change things for you guys there at the Blues?
Yeah. Well, first off, I had to make sure to wear this today to show it off. Definitely my proudest moment of being in the industry is, I mean, is getting to work for a championship team. Not many can say that they have, but that was it was a wild ride. I mean, coming into the job with the Blues, right? We're working for a 76ers team years ago in Philly that was 10-72, worst team in the history of basketball, arguably from a wins and losses standpoint. And that was a huge selling point to the Blues and why they should hire me. It's like I've sold for last place teams my whole career to like, this is nothing for me. Like I got this. So coming in January, like team last place in the standings. Most folks were talking about trading off Tarasenko, trading off some of these other pieces of like Blues are just going to completely blow it up. And then ironically enough, Bennington makes his first start the same day I stepped foot in the Blues organization. So do I take the credit for the cup win? Maybe. I feel like I should get a little bit of the credit there. But once he comes in, then you see the team go on a heater. They rip off 11 straight in the month of February. I will never forget the moment where I believe it was the Devils were playing the Devils to go for 11 straight at home. O'Reilly nets an overtime winner to get us to that 11 wins in a row. And I'll never forget coming in to work that next day. It's like the buzz was just at an all time high. Like you knew once that moment happened that the team was really on the verge of something special. Like one of those kind of storybook endings, right? Where like the whole team was meshing, like everything was just clicking at the right time. And when you look at hockey, those are usually the best teams come playoff time. They're in the best position where they get hot right towards the end of the season, and they usually tend to make a deep run. So we got in, played Winnipeg in that first round, and then subsequently advanced to play Dallas in that second round, where Pat Maroon double overtime had a game winner. Which again, another moment where being here at home in that game seven, like the place was just absolutely insane. Like you see that moment happen, it's like all right, well. There's too many of these things lining up where it's like this seems like all signs pointing to a cup one, and then you get to the third round against San Jose, where there was the infamous hand pass game that we lost against the Sharks. And coming into the office that next day, it's like the sky's falling, like the Blues have no chance. They come back again, they win the series, they move on to the cup. And then obviously they were counted out multiple times against Boston, which that was kind of the MO that whole year. Everybody counted them out. And the biggest thing with that team is they were always so resilient and they always found ways to win. And they were always best on the road that year too. A lot of folks that year like that was one of the biggest things they were known for. They always tend to do better that year on the road versus at home. I don't know why that was the case, but just continues to show like their backs up against the wall. They always found a way to get it done. It was a crazy ride where when I started in January, even early February, I mean, making these calls to businesses, individuals when telling them to kick rocks. And then a couple months later, these same people that you called are then calling you back saying, "Hey, I'm ready to talk to you about season tickets. I'm ready to buy a suite. I'm ready to do whatever." Which that's just the way that working in sports goes, especially in professional sports, where it is so like team performance based. Or like when the team's doing really good, like that really allows like from a sales perspective, like your season tickets to take off, and like especially for like season tickets, right? Like when you're selling new season tickets for the next year, like you have to essentially you have to commit to season tickets for the next year to get playoffs for that current year. At least that's how we do it. So like even last year when the Blues made that run at the end of the year to get into the playoffs, like you have that huge leverage piece where people want that playoff hockey. It's the whole FOMO thing, or like people don't want to miss out. They have that huge fear of missing out, and they'll do whatever it takes to get there. Like even when we got to that Boston series, we were selling standing room tickets at I think it was like $1,500 a ticket just to stand to watch one ticket to one game, and you had to buy season tickets for the next year more than a $10,000 spend. So you had people spending 10 grand and up on full season tickets for the next year to get a $1,500 standing room tickets. I mean, people were literally like spending crazy money. But it was just such a wild ride where you think you come in January thinking, all right, this team's going to be in rebuild mode like the Sixers when you work there, and then really had a huge wave of success, and we carried that into the pandemic, which we talked a little bit offline before this, but winning the Stanley Cup, demand was through the roof going into that 2020 season where we had a wait list for full season tickets. So once all games were stopped in March, and there was no games. Like people had no idea when games are going to be played, whether they're going to be at reduced capacity when they came back, would they be at full capacity? Was there going to be mask requirements, vaccinations, the whole 9 yards? Where there were still people calling us up and reaching out proactively, putting down deposits for season tickets. We were filling those deposits during the pandemic. So I'm pretty sure there's probably no other team that had the demand that we had going into the pandemic. So I mean, that majorly helped us out
For sure.
when there was a lot of uncertainty where we still had consistent sales that were coming in, which was definitely positive. And now just looking at the years prior, like how that's changed our whole landscape. I mean, just about every single game that we've played since winning the cup has just about been a sellout. And there's a few games here and there that like a Halloween game, like those are always tough sells, like in October. But I mean, you look at just about every game that we play, and we're pretty much at full capacity. People are even shocked this year where I mean the team hasn't lived up to the expectations, and they're reaching out trying to get tickets or suites. Like we're months out from games. Like I had a guy reach out for a suite for a March game last week, and I was like, "Sorry, we don't have any suites left right now." It's like, "What do you mean we don't have any suites?" It's like regardless of the way that the team plays, the demand for Blues hockey is unlike anything in this city. Like right now, they are the still the team in town that everybody wants to come see. So companies are always wanting to bring clients out, bring employees out. People are always bringing families out on a personal basis. So it's really crazy to see just how winning that cup really just changed the whole landscape of our entire ticketing base for years to come. Honestly,
I think it's so interesting. Like you said, so few teams obviously get the chance to be a championship winning team, and there's a lot of repeat champions across the different major sports. So it's rare that a championship comes to a different town, and when it does, it can change the landscape just like
yeah,
that. Like you
yeah,
said, that
100%. Yeah,
the most recent podcast, as I post this one here, the most recent one that we aired, Ryan, was with John, who's the president of business operations for the Chicago Wolves, former AHL affiliate of you guys with the Blues there. And him and I had an interesting conversation around how you educate, inform, inspire different fans to come to the game. And I think a team like the Blues, a team like the Chicago Wolves that has been in that city for so long, most people are aware of the team. Most people are aware of what the product is. But I think you'd also agree that when people come to a hockey game, they want to come again because it's an amazing experience. It's an amazing viewing experience. You're not just selling a seat, you're selling an experience. How
100%.
did the cup run, I guess, change your pitch, your positioning to people? Because the whole city knows about the Blues once you guys win. So how does your pitch or positioning change from maybe educating on the game to now it's more of a FOMO thing where you don't want to miss
Yeah.
out the next run?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, really, whether it's a deep playoff run or a cup win, I mean, you get to a point where it's a lot of stress and urgency. Like, especially during that entire cup run where people were reaching out, buying season tickets to get playoff tickets. Like, it was the most insane amount of leverage that I can say I've ever had, where I'd be on the phone with somebody pitching them a season ticket location, and I would like in all full confidence, like I had so much confidence making these calls, because I knew, like I said, hey, like if you don't buy these seats right now, like somebody is going to buy these within the next couple minutes, if not sooner. So like there was no better motivator to have somebody close the deal on a sale when you have that much leverage because people know at that point like you're not BSing them, like they know that people are reaching out left and right, like whether it's through email, whether it's through phone calls, whether it's through our online chat that we had at the time. Like the amount of inbound traffic we had for people buying season tickets to get playoff tickets during that time, and then also post cup, like you had another huge wave because then people that missed out on the cup run, like they wanted to get in for the next season because they knew the team's still going to be pretty darn good. Like we want to make sure that we get in now. And we got to a point where I want to say it was like early to mid August or so. where we were literally out of every single seat location other than premium seats. So we had a couple of what are called ringside club seats left, where seats done by the glass, where you had a club that you go to with all inclusivity, like food and beverage. There was another area on the club level. So it was really probably 20 or so club seats that we had left. But I mean, just about everything else was wiped clean from mid June to early August, which is wild that that was the case. But again, you have all the leverage in the world where you tell these people, like, if you don't buy this now, like someone else will, and then you'll be on the sidelines missing out. So I mean, there's no better leverage piece than that because again, to your point, like, and what I said earlier about the FOMO, like people did not want to miss out. Like I had a company that going off of a cup story, they bought a $50,000 suite package for the 1920 season to get access to buy a $40,000 suite for the last game at home against the Bruins, which would have been Game 6. And that was literally 2 days before the game. Like they reached out just on a whim last minute. Again, just goes to the point of like companies, individuals, like they were willing to spend whatever they had to. And like even now, you look at our run last year, right? We won 12 straight at the end of the season. Like there was people I talked to earlier in the season last year that again, same thing, kick rocks, like call me when the team's better. And then we go on the run at the end of the season. All these people hop on board for the rest of the year, and then we take the President's Trophy winner to 7 games, and had a lot of buzz coming into this year as well. So that is the one unique thing where even like any minor league sport, working in the minors myself in minor league baseball and soccer years ago, where really team performance doesn't really matter. Like people are still going to come to the games regardless because they see the value in it. The price point's more affordable to entertain, and they know that they're going to come out and have a good time, and they're not going to pay a major league price. So it's that was our biggest thing in the minors. It's like you get the major league experience for a minor league price. For like here, like again, it's the Blues name, like it's Blues hockey. Like people know what they're getting, and when the team is performing at the highest level possible, like that is when the demand is at the highest, which any team can say the same thing. Like when the team's at their best, that's when everybody wants to be out. But again, we're very fortunate and blessed to have such a strong season ticket base where and every single year, our renewal numbers are one of the highest in the league. Our new full season sales and planned sales numbers are always one of the highest in the league. And there's literally people that dream growing up of having Blues tickets and being a season ticket holder because whether it's they came out to games as a kid or like other family had season tickets, like they dream of these opportunities and coming to games and making those memories. Because again, we're not just in the business of selling tickets, like you said. I mean, it's all about creating these everlasting memories for companies, for individuals, for families. So it makes them want to continue to come back out to Blues games every single year, which
Yeah.
is the fun part of what I do. I mean, I enjoy getting to build relationships with people and visiting them at games, getting to know them, finding out what makes them tick, and makes it a lot harder also for people to say no when they build a genuine connection and relationship with you. Where like maybe there's a year that the Blues are really struggling and they say, hey, like, I don't know if I'm going to renew my Blues tickets or I'm going to buy a suite again, but I really liked Ryan. He took care of me the last time we came out. Like it makes it so much harder when you have that genuine bond with
100%.
somebody for them to not want to come back again. Like and the Sixers years ago when I worked there, and that was really a big piece of what made me so successful there because I couldn't lean in on the team performance when the team had won 10 games the whole season. Like you had to pride yourself on that excellent customer service, going above and beyond to elevate the experience for folks when they came out to games where all this experience over the years carrying into my situation now with the Blues, like there's a reason why I've been able to be successful for all these years because I've taken all these different nuggets from all these different teams and experiences that I've had, and it's really helped me to get to where I'm at today.
100%. Yeah, and that's exactly where I wanted to lead it next was kind of the transferable skills between sports there. And I think just to wrap up your point there, like I think a lot of times people coming into the industry think of, oh, I got to sell tickets to this game, like Saturday's game. That's the biggest thing. But like you're saying, it's not about Saturday's game. You're not really making that much money off 2 seats to Saturday's game. It's about getting them back in the building 4 more times this year to then buy a jersey, to then have Robert Thomas be their favorite player, to then think about season tickets down the road, to then tell
Correct.
a friend to come back. Like
Yeah.
sports is community, it's experience, it's environment, it's about the bigger picture and those relationships that you get to build. It's not about selling that Tuesday night game to make the business $15 or whatever the margin may be on that ticket, like you said. But to touch
100%.
on
Yeah.
the 76ers there, and again, you touched on, baseball, soccer, rugby. You've seen a lot of different sports. You've seen a lot of different cities and markets. Most notably, like you said, spent time with the Philadelphia 76ers there. How did that experience prepare you, and how were you able to kind of transfer those skills from, basketball on the court to hockey on the ice?
Yeah, no, a fantastic question. First and foremost, like starting out in inside sales with the Sixers, like I had to learn the sales process extremely quickly because again, you didn't have people picking up the phone ready to buy, saying, "I want to buy season tickets. I want to bring a group out." It was having to actually like learn how to sell, and fully understand and grasp the sales process. Where I came in inside sales, be making 100 cold calls a day. Like you pick up the sales process pretty quick when you're making that many calls, and the training was also, I mean, top notch. I mean, the Sixers at HBSC, that whole umbrella, which for those of you that don't know, Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, that oversees both the Sixers and the Devils. I mean, they're widely regarded as one of the best sports umbrellas in the industry. So, I mean, there's from a training standpoint, I mean, some of the best training and hands-on like learning prior to actually even getting on the phones. Like I want to say it was maybe 2 or so weeks of actually like textbook training, doing role plays, like making sure you were fully comfortable before even getting on the phone. But that's the biggest thing for me is actually learning that sales process and having such a good grasp where I was successful for a 10-win team. Like in 10 months, I was promoted, saw a lot of success, and also too just the work ethic piece of it, which we'll touch on, I'm sure, a little bit later. But came in and said like I'm going to outwork my competition. I'm going to make more calls than anybody. I'm going to like study what some of the more successful reps are doing, learn kind of what how they're handling certain objections and what they're hearing and what they're saying on the phone. And that led me to within 10 months being promoted to an AE role, and by the time I left there, I was the number one salesperson in the entire organization. And again, I didn't have a ton of sales experience coming into the role with the Sixers. I mean, there's some internships I did prior to where there was a little bit, but I mean, it was nowhere near the level of like
Yeah,
someone that
100
would
calls a day.
yeah, I mean, like even now, like there's so many different tools that folks have to grasp the sales process before even getting a job in sports. Like really, none of that existed 10 years ago. I mean, I was just willing to come in and work hard and learn the sales process. And now, like when you go to a team like the Blues, where coming in 2019, where the team performance took off, and it's like I already had the bare basics down of the sales process of how to overcome certain objections, how to walk people up the ladder and upsell. Like I had all the basic fundamentals down, and that was for a really bad product. Can you only imagine like having those fundamentals down for a bad team, like using those same fundamentals for a really good team? There's a correlation to why in my 7 years here, I've been essentially the entire time I've been here, the top sales rep for the entire time I've been here. It's because I have that different perspective than most other people have because I've been through a lot of other circumstances that weren't the best. But again, going back to what I said earlier, I'm always about what's going to help me grow as a business professional. So I was willing to take a leap of faith, bet on myself from the East Coast, go to the West Coast, work in minor league sports where, again, learned a lot and really helped me grasp the B2B sales process a lot better. Where then you have such a good grasp on all facets of the industry, major league, minor league, B2B sales, B2C sales. For then now with the Blues, like I have a really good grasp on just about everything. Where sure, hockey and basketball, like you're selling different things, right? Like there's no courtside seats, but there's ringside seats. Like essentially you're still selling the same sports and entertainment product. Like the actual like product that you're selling, what like in a different building is a little bit different. It's like there's always the little nuances, but again, you're selling the experience, you're building a relationship with somebody, and especially for businesses, right? Like they're looking to do one of two things mostly: entertain clients, entertain employees. Usually it's one of the two buckets. So regardless of if you're selling basketball in Philly, if you're selling hockey in St. Louis, like really everybody has the same premise at the end of the day. It's just a different building that you're selling in. But I'm definitely blessed and thankful for the opportunities that I had early in my career because there's no way that I would have got to where I'm at now without having those other teams and other experiences under my belt to have the success that I'm having right now.
100%. I think that's very well said, and it's sales is very transferable, and it's people skills and it's handling rejection. And, I know not everybody thinks that that sounds fun or is interested in sales. I want to get into that in a minute here
Yeah,
too. But
yeah.
I think, like you said, it's so transferable across sports, across industries, and just the skills. I had an old mentor said, like, everything's transferable, and if it's not, it's because you suck at it. And it's a little bit harsh, but kind of like you said, it's the hard work, right? If you put in the effort to learn and overcome those rejections and learn the process and set yourself up for success, everything is transferable, whether it's how you greet the mailman outside to how you pick up the phone and call somebody to buy a ticket. You can learn from everything, and I think you encompass that well there. Now that you are, doing more coaching, teaching, training, younger people coming into the industry earlier, or entry level sales members as well. What are some of those key messages that you give them? What are those hiccups that you help them overcome? And I guess, what are some of the most common objections that salespeople hear in the sports industry?
Sure. So we'll start with objections first, and then we'll dive into the earlier question. So, with objections, I mean, number one, which we touched on a little bit, was team performance, right? Like if the team's not performing, like that's going to make people like get turned off a bit. Which you see it more on the B2C side of things, where hey, like the team's not performing. Give me a call when the team rips off a couple wins or starts playing better. We're on the business side, honestly it's not as big of an objection as you might think because again companies still have to entertain employees, they still have to entertain clients, like they see the value in it. Like if you can show them the ROI of like why buying a suite with the Blues or buying season tickets with the Blues like benefits their bottom line, like they're still going to do it. Which they could really care less. I always look at it this way of like the sports game for businesses is kind of the backdrop, right? Like that's just the background noise while they're having these business conversations. They're bringing a client out, they're bringing a prospect out, entertaining their employees. So like there you don't see it as much, but yeah, team performance when you work in the pros, I mean, it's always going to be a big one. Obviously, the financial cost objection, where companies can come back and say, well, maybe it's not in the budget this year. Great. Well, like when does your budget reset? Like, is it Jan 1? Because if so, like let's look at when your budget resets Jan 1, having this conversation. Like, how does that sound? Which that's always a common one. And also, too, just from a business to consumer standpoint, B2C, like them coming back and saying, hey, like we just had our HVAC system blow out in our house. Like we can't afford to buy season tickets right now. Or my truck just had to get a repair. Like just like random things like that, where like somebody thinks they're going to buy season tickets, they come back and they bring something up. So and any financial objection you always run into. So team, financial, I'd say are probably two of the biggest ones that I've run into over the years. And then also too, like you'll see from a season ticket standpoint, like number of games. That always is a really big one. The market really has changed, I'd say even post pandemic, where people are not buying full season tickets as much as they used to. You're seeing people buy more partial seasons. So like our half season plans have done really well. Like even mini seasons, which are 13 games. Like we have a weekend plan iteration of those, which is just weekend games. Like, yeah, people that come from 2 or 3 hours away, really popular. So it's a little bit harder than it was years prior to sell the full season ticket. So that's always a big one where say, hey, like full season sounds great, but I don't know if I can come out to that many games. So it's overcoming that objection where you talk through our partnership with Ticketmaster and how you can resell games that you may not be able to attend. We have a pretty flexible exchange program. So, like, let's say, for example, you had two seats with the Blues. Say, hey, I can't make the game this week, but I want to bring out two more friends or family to the game next month. So essentially, you can ditch your two tickets from that one game. We roll them over to a different game, and then we would find you a comparable location for four seats, or just two seats close to your current two. Now there may be up charges if you go from like a weekend to or a weekday to a weekend and all that jazz, but really trying to show people like, hey, we don't want any tickets to go unused. Our goal is to help you maximize the value of your plan. And when you dumb it down to people too, like if say they're in between a half and a full, they're unsure which way to go. Or it's like, well, half season's 22. I always tell people if you can justify getting out to just a few more games than a half in like the 25 to 30 range, then a full season probably makes sense because let's say you sell a few games back, maybe even give some away to family, friends, whoever. And then on a full season, you get 12 of those exchange opportunities. Even if you use 12 exchanges right from the jump, then that knocks you down to 32 games right there. So it's just really showing people when they're on the edge of like that partial season versus the full. And then, of course, there's so many other benefits that come with the full season that the other partial season plans don't get. So when you have that conversation with the client or prospect of like figuring out like how are they using the tickets? Is it for family? Because if so, you can touch on the different season ticket events that we do, like our paint the ice event, where folks can bring their family out after the season and paint on the ice. So just figuring out those things and keeping them in your back pocket to then pull out when you're getting ready to recommend the product to somebody. So I'd say those that are the three that come to mind as far as the three that I normally would encounter the most, I'd say.
Yeah, no, again, I think that's super valuable insight from all that you have seen there, and I think trying to think how I frame this one, but I guess in terms of misconceptions with sales roles, I think a thing that I hear from college students or young professionals a lot, Ryan, is they look at the job description and they go, "Holy shit, 80 calls a day or 100 calls a day? Like, I don't know if I can do that." Or they think it's a lot of it can be a lot of grunt work or otherwise. Like, I think sales in our industry has a negative connotation when people are looking at a job description online.
Mhm.
My rebuttal to that is always every every role in sports is hard. So if you're going to put the work in, sales is going to be one of the best ways to
Yeah,
do it. The people
yeah.
skills, the transferable skills, the way that you get to handle objections, work with the business team, understand the full business of a NHL or whichever level team. The skills and knowledge that you pick up in sales, in my opinion, is second to none. But how would you address or handle some of those maybe scared or misconceptions that people have about sales roles in sports?
Yeah, well, that's a perfect segue because that was actually going to be part of what I brought up in the second part of your earlier question. So there's a couple of things that I always say make a successful person in our industry. So first of which we've already touched on a little bit, is the work ethic piece. Like if you're coming in and you're willing to work hard and put in the effort and outwork your competition, like you're going to be successful. And definitely that is going off of that as far as like a misconception. I mean, that definitely is like one of the biggest misconceptions of like, oh, like sales is hard, like I have to make all these like calls, like it seems kind of overwhelming. Where to a certain extent, like is it overwhelming when you come in as an entry level sales rep? Sure, but I equate sales to going to the gym. So it's like I look at it this way: like the more reps that you put in, the more comfortable you're going to be and the more successful you're going to be. So, like, for example, I'm person A, right? Let's say I come in and I make 100 calls. Person B makes 80 calls. So, if I'm making 20 more calls, naturally, I'm going to talk to more people. I'm going to have more quality conversations. And I'm probably going to make more sales because of the extra output that I'm putting in. And also, too, just the more calls you make, the more confident you get in your craft. And like for me, like coming in where I had one internship with very minimal sales experience, and I said, you know what, like I'm not the best natural salesperson, but I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to learn the sales process. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to be successful because I knew I wasn't going to be the best athlete growing up, and I wasn't going to get a job playing sports and being an athlete. So it's like I have to get in somehow. So once I got that opportunity, I was not going to squander it and let it go. It's like I know I want to have a career long term in sports, so I'm willing to work my butt off and make it happen. So that's definitely one of the biggest misconceptions I feel like is that like it's overwhelming, and also that there's a certain type of person that can be good at sales because I'm a living, breathing example that that's not the case because I didn't really have much experience in sales. And here I am 10 years later as a top sales rep in multiple different organizations over my time. So that's one. And then also, I'd say just like the coachability side of things, like the eagerness to like learn and get better. So like I'll give you another example. So when I was in inside sales, I would constantly go around to some of the senior like AEs at the Sixers, and for 20, 30 minutes, I would just simply sit by their desk, pull up a chair, shadow them, listen to them on calls, see how they handle different objections, see how the conversations flowed, and just try to pick up different nuggets, right? Of like how what can I incorporate into my sales process to make me more confident and more successful. I would also be super proactive and grab coffee with some of the managers. I would sit down once a month with the manager of the account executives and just talk to him about like how my pipeline was going, like what objections I'm hearing, just build a connection with him because like I knew if I wanted to get to that next level, like that's where I want to be. So let me catch up with him once every other couple weeks, and let him know how things are going and see like what advice he would have to get me to that next level. So that's always something I'd say too. Like always be willing to learn and get better. And then also too, the biggest thing now that you guys have access to and your generation that I didn't was the LinkedIn and social media side of things. So I always tell folks like it's not the easiest thing to do. I get it, to be like proactive and reach out to people, but people love talking about themselves. Like if you know you want to work for a certain team or certain facet of a team, like hop on LinkedIn, search St. Louis Blues sales, St. Louis Blues social media, whatever you want it to be. Find who that individual is, connect with them, send them a message. Hey, like we'd love to chat with you for a few minutes, learn about what you do. I call it building your job pipeline, right? Like the more connections you can make with people in different industries and different teams, it's only going to help you when it comes time to look for an internship, get that job out of school. Because if you already have pre-existing relationships with people in the industry, number one, they're going to be willing to help you because you have that connection. But number two, it's going to open up your eyes and options to so many different leagues, teams, because you got MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL, and then MLS too. If you want to throw that in there, I mean, really five major leagues on top of all these minor league teams too. I mean, there's so much that's out there. And if you're willing to have an open mind, if you're willing to not stay pigeonholed to your home city, because I see folks get caught up in that too, where they just want to work for like people in St. Louis, they just want to work for the Cardinals, they just want to work for the Blues. Like I got to fortunately like work for my hometown teams in Philly, but again, I moved on to other cities. Like if you're willing to have that open mind and you want to have a job in sports and be successful, sometimes the answer always isn't your hometown. You sometimes need to branch out, leave the nest, and make a name for yourself. Which I'd say that's I mean, also just a misconception too, like that, like you have to like stay in like in your town, like that's the only options. Like no, there are so many other options that are out there. It may not work out with your hometown team, but and then really the only other misconception that comes to mind that I can think of too is just from a like overall working in sports standpoint of just the like the long hours, right? It's like people that's always one thing people come back with and say, well, like, I don't know if I can like be in sports because it's long hours and that's a turn off. Well, like to if that is the case and like and that's your misconception, I don't want to work in sports because of that. I mean, working in sports isn't for everybody. Like for me, like I wouldn't consider that to be a misconception at all. Like I find that to be a positive because I enjoy doing what I do. While some folks see that as a misconception, for me, like that's where like I enjoy the most. Like I enjoy getting to build relationships with people. Like go enjoy getting to go to the games and watch live hockey, which is the best live sport in my opinion. You really can't beat it. So no, it was a little bit long winded, but hopefully
No,
that
perfect.
sums up the question.
That's music to my ears. There's a lot of good advice and insight in there, and I couldn't agree more on the hours. I think that is something that truthfully hear a lot from students or young professionals is they're afraid of the hours that sports can be. And listen, like you said, there can be long days, there can be back to back weekends, whatever it may be. But the reality is, man, like that's every industry. That's every industry.
Oh,
Everybody's
exactly,
online all
100%.
day, every day, whether you're in tech, in finance, in healthcare, in sports, whatever it is. There's not many people really working from 900 to 500. If you're passionate about something, it's going to take more effort, like you said, right?
Oh, 100%. That's a conversation that we have all the time too. And it's like if your mindset is like I'm going to come into sports and work a 9 to 5 job, quite honestly, it just might not be the best fit for you because you're going to have to put in extra time and effort outside of work hours, most likely. Like even like if you're on the social media team, for example, like they're obviously posting during games and they're filming content and they're doing all these other things where I mean being in sales, like going back to the original like question you had asked a little while back, like of being in sales where there is a misconception of being in a sales role of like that you're like we're slimy sleazy salespeople. Like that's always a misconception that people get. Like they see like these used car salesmen and it's like that we're completely different than anything like that. We're like working in sports and working in sales, like it is a grind, I will say, but it is also an opportunity that somebody has where they come in and in the sales role where you're selling first off a product that people want to actually come out and see. You're not selling insurance. You're not selling like some other product that's boring that people don't want to talk to you. Like more often than not, like you're selling the St. Louis Blues. Like people want to call and people want you to call them rather, and they want to talk to you. But also too, like the whole misconception of sales that like you have to be good at sales, right? Like I came in and I really didn't know really all that much of what I was doing, and then I wound up being extremely successful. Here I am, 10 years later. So just goes to show.
100%. No, I couldn't agree more. And this has been awesome, Ryan. I think you and I could do this for hours, and we'll probably have to do it again here at some point, maybe in person. But to wrap this all up, and for the sake of social media clips, if I could just say, one piece of advice for anybody looking to break into the industry, whether that's sales or otherwise.
Yeah, no, I'd say, I mean, my biggest piece of advice that I would have for anybody looking to get into the industry is really just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And again, I talked about it with like LinkedIn and utilizing social media. It's like if you're looking to get into sports, like use the platforms that are at your disposal. Because 10 years ago, I didn't have those same platforms, and I wish that I did. So there's so many things that are out there. So just try to use those to your benefit, because when it comes time to look for that internship or look for that job, it's only going to put you in a position to be more successful to land that internship or land that job. So that's what I would say.
That is very well said. And again, can't thank you enough for the time, for the insight here. A lot of good nuggets here from Ryan. And guys, don't forget Binner and Bucci, the two catalysts for the 2019 Stanley Cup.
You know it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, Ryan. And guys, be sure to tune in for next week's episode of the Working in Hockey podcast.